Generic greetings and welcome to Preview plus Contraption Maker. This is a physics puzzle game, however, it can more accurately be described as a Rube Goldberg simulator. If you're not aware of what a Rube Goldberg device is, then the premise is quite simple. You have to accomplish a very specific, often simplistic and mundane task. However, you have to do so in the most complicated, obtuse, long-winded, complicated manner possible, which is where the fun of this game comes in. You are often tasked with rebuilding a part of the device to complete the puzzle, or just build the device from scratch yourself. If we look at the title screen, we can see an example of one of the devices. We can see that the whole point in this is to bring a cage down on the cat. The way the device does it, though, is extremely long-winded. This guy walks on a seesaw that'll activate and then fire a spring-powered boxing glove, turning the lighter on, which then powers the rocket. The rocket blows up, releasing the balls. The balls then turn the switch, which activates this motor, in turn powering the conveyor belt, pushing said balls onto these springboards. The balls then jump around, hitting the scissors, cutting the rope, finally bringing down the cage onto the cat. An extremely long-winded way of doing it, but extremely fun to watch and to do. Now, there's two things to mention before we get into the video. The first thing to mention is this game is actually the spiritual successor to another game called The Incredible Machine. That is something I played over 15 years ago, so to say I was excited to hear that a spiritual successor is coming out is probably the understatement of the decade. The second thing to note is that this game is still in alpha. This is early access, so the typical disclaimers apply. So everything you see is subject to change, nothing is final, any bugs, lack of polish in places, etc. are to be expected. So, I'm going to show you a couple of puzzles in the game. There's only a couple and there's a reason for that, but I'll explain why in a moment. And then I'm going to show you the sort of sandbox part where we'll actually build a puzzle ourselves. So let's go to play. There's only 6 puzzles in the game at the moment, and the reason for that, it's pretty much explained in this piece of text. Basically, they don't want to be building, like, say, 50 puzzles and then change one thing in the physics engine to then break all the puzzles. So they're going to get all that nailed down first before they build the puzzles. In the final game, you will have several puzzles, lots and lots of puzzles to actually go through and complete. But the reason I'm showing you this first is so you get an idea of how the game plays. So, we have an objective. Some jerk packaged Tim up in a box, help him get out and get home. So, okay, that's our objective. We have to get Tim, who can't be seen at the moment. They mentioned a box, so I'm guessing he's in there. We have to get him to his house, which is obviously this thing here. So the first thing I'm going to do is activate the simulation. So we'll click the start button here, and we can see that the box falls over and releases Tim. There he goes, he's walking along. He'll then just continue on and probably jump to his death like a lemming. There he goes. Bye. Bye, Tim. Let's stop the simulation before he hits the ground. So yes, that's where he's going to go. So we know what's going to happen if we do nothing else. So we have to get him home, and we have to do so by altering these things here. We have a set of parts in order to do that. These are all the parts on the right-hand side. So I can, for example, I don't know, bring a set of nitroglycerin, put it there, press start, and then it will blow up like that. Does nothing, but it blows up. But you get the idea. You can drag them around, you can move them around, you can also press the delete button to delete them, you can also press on the question mark to get an example of exactly what it does. So nitro is very unstable, drop it too far, or hit it too hard and it will explode. So yeah, you see a little example. I really like that. I really do like that, where you can see exactly how it works. It's much better than just a description. Actually having a little view so you can see how it works is much better. Anyway, we will delete that. So, how am I going to get him over here? Well, for a start, we need to probably activate the conveyor belt, and we can see the conveyor belt is connected via a couple of pulleys and sprockets to this hamster cage. Now, the hamster's currently asleep. We need to get him awake, and we'll probably do that by shooting at him with this ray gun. If I click on the ray gun, you can see, click on the question mark, pull the trigger with a rope or to shoot the ray gun. So I do have a rope. There's the rope, and let's activate. Let's attach the rope to the gun. I don't think that'll do anything. No, it doesn't do anything. So what's my other option? Well, how about a balloon? Let me bring a balloon on the table and connect that to the balloon. There we go. Let's put the balloon down here, just so we get a bit of speed up as it floats up. It's a helium balloon, so it's going to go up, and then it'll run, and then it'll actually go hit that, and then come up. The reason I put it down there, not up here, is that we get a bit of delay when it's down here. So let's activate the machine, simulation, and that'll, you see the balloons wobbling around, and activates that, fires, making the hamster run, flinging Tim off, and, oh, I think I've just broke both his legs and dislocated his spine in several places. Let's think about that then. So that works. That activates the hamster wheel, which then, well, the hamster engine. What's it called? Hamster cage. Okay. Basically, it's a very basic engine, and it's a callback to the originally to the Incredible Machine, because you used to power loads of devices via these things. Anyway, what am I going to do? Well, I need to stop him falling. I also need to get rid of this thing. This is a paper lantern. You can see it says paper lantern, and we need to get rid of that bucket, because otherwise he won't be able to walk past. Now, obviously, it's connected with a rope to the paper lantern, and as this example shows, we can use a torch and a magnifying glass to activate the little candle on it, which will bring the paper lantern up. I actually have a torch, and I have a magnifying glass, so I'll put the magnifying glass there. I'll put the torch there, and that should do us. What I'm hoping happens is that Tim falls out of here, walks along, lands on this. By the time he walks in here, the conveyor belt will be going. He'll fall back, land on the torch, not break his spine in 17 places, walk along the switch, turn that on. By the time he walks off, goes through this pipe, turns around, falls out, that will have activated the lantern, bringing this bucket up, and then he can get home with his shopping or whatever he's trying to do. So let's see what happens. That fires. There we go. Hits that, activates it. He walks along, touches that, activates that. That goes up. He walks out, and now he's going home to make a panini or whatever he's going to do. And there he goes. Successful, I think. I think that is a successful... Yeah, puzzle complete successfully. Excellent. We can see we've got a couple of parts left over. There's two possible reasons for that. Reason A, there's sometimes several ways of completing a puzzle. Reason B, alpha game is alpha. It should have been taken out, it isn't, etc. Like I say, everything you see is subject to change, nothing is final. Let's do this second one. Pop the jack in the box, which is this thing here. Notice that you can place things outside of the puzzle bounds when you build puzzles. If I click on the hand icon up here, we can actually scroll this around. Now, there is a couple of things hidden around here, but I can't actually see them. So, let's start the simulation like we always do. We've got the bucket that falls out the sky, which is good. We see these little zeppelins, blimps going along. That activates the scissors, which is good to know. Make a mental note of that. And these are probably going to come along and get popped. Yep, there we go. I really do like the way the game looks. It is very... Well, I don't know, it's simplistic. I just like, the detail and like the little sheens on these balloons, but the way they animate as well, the way they just like they pulsate a little bit. It's very nice. It's very simplistic to look. It's got that sort of cartoon yet retro look with all like the way these are misshapen. It's very Acme. I think that's where to describe it. Very like sort of Acme, like Looney Tunes style. Anyway, it's also like retro with the way that motor looks, and that looks very 50s, 60s. Anyway, let's connect up a rope to the bucket. Like, hang on, I need to go back to this, which, there we go, activate that, connect that up, and then connect that up to there. And we will start the simulation again. So, we've got the rope connected up to this. We can see that it's trying to pull the balloon down, but it's scraping along this girder. Looks like Lego Technic, actually. That then comes along. This one cuts that and drops it there. Good to know. What's also good to know is that it activated this, which is a power switch. I mean, it did so by dropping water on it, so we're going to gloss over the health and safety problems with that. But what can we do then? What will that do? If I switch that on, I've only got one electrical device. It's this thing here. This is a motor with a fan on. It's actually called electric fan, surprisingly. We can see that when we bring it in, it automatically connects up to the thing, the closest thing, which is good. You don't have to have separate wires, for example. You can see the physics working there. Lovely. I'm going to put it there, but then I'm going to spin it round and then put it there. Now, the reason for that is when that gets activated by the water dripping on it, again, just ignore the health and safety problems with that. That's going to spin the fan, which will then turn this pinwheel, I believe it's called. Yes, a pinwheel. See, look, I love that example. That is excellent. I really do like that. Yes, I'll activate that pinwheel, which will turn these sprockets, which will then in turn move the conveyor belt, which will probably then move this bucket because it's on here, and other things will happen. It'll probably pull that down, releasing that twig, which will let this hinged shelf drop. Ball and ball go in here. These arrows mean it's going to be forced that way. They're actually like a power area, so it'll force it up and around that bend, hit that, activate the motor, turning these cogs for some unknown reason. Let's just start it, shall we? That's going to activate. There we go. This is all happening, and yep, there we go. That's working along nicely. That's going to drop into here, pulling that out. Ball and ball goes along, activates that, and a couple of things are happening. I can hear, oh, there's a ball coming along activating that lighter, but I can't see it because it's out of shot. Right. Okay. Ah, right, okay, Eureka moment. Let me put this paper lantern there. I actually didn't complete it this way before. I actually completed it by just putting a sprocket on there and onto that. But if I do this, if I bring this in here, activate that to there, connect that to there, and then connect that to there, what should happen is that after all of this simulation, we should get the ball that comes out of here, hitting that, lighting that, activating the paper lantern, bring that up, which will then shoot this gun, blowing up that nitro, probably waking the hamster up and startling it somewhat. Again, we'll gloss over the cruelty issues, and then that'll activate this Jack-in-the-Box. It's not real. We can, we can deal with it. You can speed the simulation up by clicking this button here. It's 3 different speed levels, but I want to look at normal speed. That activates that, pushes that along. That'll fire that out. There we go. Activate the lighter, which should then activate the paper lantern. That'll come along. Fire. Fire. There we go. Blowing that up. Hamster's a little bit startled. Keeps running. And then the Jack-in-the-Box activates. Lovely. Puzzle complete successfully. Excellent. So that's the sort of premise of the game. At least that's what the final version will sort of be like. That, basically lots and lots of puzzles. Now I'm going to jump into the sandbox part where I'm going to actually build a puzzle from scratch. Okay, so we're in the game's editor now, and this is something that, even in this very early stage of development, is fairly featured and polished enough to make at least the 2 puzzles you've seen me play earlier, as well as much, much more. The best thing about this, in my opinion at least, is that it's got full Steam Workshop integration from day one, so a lot of the mileage you'll get from the game, at least early on, is probably making your own puzzles, having a play about without messing around with this editor, as well as downloading other people's puzzles as well. I think that's where a lot of the mileage will come from early on, at least, and that's something to take into account if you are thinking of partaking early on. So the editor, like I say, is fairly featured, and it's certainly complex enough for you to make, quite interesting devices. It actually reminds me a bit of Photoshop. We've got the options for saves up here and such. We can also save, undo, redo, and update to Steam Workshop and such. We have the buttons up here to open and close tabs, these tabs here. These ones, this one is for your parts. We can sort them by clicking on the bowling ball, on the this one here for things like girders and such to place things on. We got, characters. Yeah, we got characters. We've also got electrical items and other things as well. On here we have our sort of background scenery items, so we can switch between foliage and mountains, etc., clouds. And then we got our layers, so you can make different layers. Like I say, very Photoshoppy in that sense. So we can add different layers if we want another scenery layer, or split the layers off in case you're doing certain things. So anyway, I'm going to click my scenery layer and spawn some Pixar-esque clouds. I do like the way the game looks, I have to confess. And we'll put some ground on as well. We'll put it like so. I think that'll do us for now. And then we'll switch. We'll lock that layer, and then we'll switch to our parts layer. So let's spawn a conveyor belt, because I can. When you spawn it, you get these arrows here on the conveyor belt to stretch it up, move it along, etc. I'm just going to leave it about that size and put it there. I'm going to power it. No, first I'm going to put a bit of cheese on, because I can. And I'm going to power it with a hamster wheel. There we go. We're going to connect a chain up to it. And then we'll turn the hamster wheel on by just dropping a ball on it. And click go. You can see it activates. Oh, and goes the wrong way. Stop the simulation. Let's spin it round, and then that'll activate. What am I going to do with this piece of cheese, though? Well, what's it going to do? It's going to go down and fall. Okay, so how about I make it bounce on a trampoline, because there's nothing funnier than a piece of cheese bouncing on a trampoline. I'm sure you can... Yeah, you can't think of anything else, can you? There we go. Okay, so there it goes. It's worthy of note that I'm not really making any of the puzzles you saw earlier. You can make the puzzles where the person has a set number of parts to use to complete the puzzle. I'm just going to make a bit of a funny simulation. So where does this cheese bounce? Let me speed it up, and it's going to bounce over here. And I wanted to activate a switch. I don't know, maybe up here. I think it was. It gets to. Does it get to about there? Let's have a look. No, it doesn't. Not there. Move it along a bit. Try it once more. About there, maybe. There we go. Activates the switch. And that switch is then going to power perhaps a... When that switch turns on, it's going to power a fan. Yes, it's going to power a fan, because... Why not? Power a fan. Which will then power a... pinwheel? Yep, that's going to power a pinwheel, which will then power a generator. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. Right. There we go. And this is the essence of a Rube Goldberg machine. Why didn't... well, actually, what's the generator going to power before we get into that? It's going to power another fan. So, you might be thinking, hang on. This is the whole premise of a Rube Goldberg machine. That switch gets activated to power that fan, to then power that pinwheel, to then power a generator, to power that fan. Why didn't I just put that fan there? Well, that's not the point of a Rube Goldberg machine, is it? That's then going to push a tennis ball. I was going to say tennis ball. No, not tennis ball. It's a what ball is that? Baseball. Yes, it's a baseball. That's going to go along, and then it's going to get pushed along, and I don't know, what can it do? We just make it roll out, I guess. Make it roll out of the map, like so. I'm gonna have to wait. I need to so the cheese falls between this. Is it gonna fall between it? Yes, it is. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the tennis ball, click on the flag icon, and that's our goal editor. Basically, in order to complete the maps, you have to set at least one goal. So I'm going to have it set as location and off screen. So when that goes off the screen, we should win the map. There we go. That cheese is going to go along, fall down, bounce on that, activate that switch, push the ball off the map, and there we go. Puzzle complete successfully. Fantastic. I'm just going to stop the simulation and load one I've done earlier. So load that one there. Yeah, that one there. We'll load that. And here is my my weird contraption. Now, if I click start, you can see that nothing happens. No, I mean it's quite complicated. We've got. Let's have a quick look. We've got. We can zoom in actually by zooming in as well, by using your scroll wheel. We've got. Oh, hang on, didn't mean to do that. We've got hamster cage. We've got sprockets. Got cheese down here. Rocket. We got other hamster cages. Scissors holding onto his zeppelins. Pipes. Lots and lots of things. We also got this here cat. Our objective is to get this into that bucket. That's all we have to do, right? That there, we just nudge it a little bit. But in order to do that, we need to fix the machine because I've intentionally broke it. So if I click start, nothing happens. I fix it by putting this ball there and start the simulation. That activates that, brings that cheese along, sparks that lighter, fires the rocket, that goes up, activates this nitro, the nitro then falls down, activates the hamster cage, bringing another piece of cheese up, cutting that rope, making this go along. It will slowly drift along. Let's speed it up a bit. There we go. Pushing that into there, the bowling ball, that'll go down in the pipe, fire around, hit that, fire the spring, that'll bounce, go along here, drop into there, cut that, that'll push that along, pushing that along, activating that, that'll go up, making him go forward to get this food over here, push the ball into there, puzzle complete. So you can get the whole point in this game. It's basically a Rube Goldberg simulator at this particular point. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. It's got a lot of potential. Let me just stop this simulation and we will leave it there. We'll close that down. Unsave changes, yes, that's fine. And yeah, we'll go back to the front page. So yeah, Contraption Maker. As I said, this is very early access. This is the first release of the game, so everything you see in here is subject to change, any bugs, etc. Please, it's all. You can all attest it to that. It's been early in development. I am really excited for this. I think. I'm really looking forward to all the puzzles that the developers make for it, but the fact that it's got Steam Workshop integration from day one is a real plus point for it, because a lot of people hopefully will be making contraptions which you can download and actually do the puzzles. Obviously, you've seen me make a very simple thing, but you can make a lot, much better than that. I had a limited amount of time to do that, so imagine, if you've got a limited amount of time, you want to spend 3 or 4 hours on something. There's also nothing stopping you making a really big one that is like entire screens several screens scrolled wide. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in this one. Just to note, there is, as with most early access stuff, it is actually at a very reduced price point at this early stage. So if you do want to partake at this early stage, you not only get it for cheaper than the final release, but you get access to like the editor and such like that. But obviously there's the downsides of that, which you don't actually get a full game at this particular point. But anyway, you might like it. Links in the description for the game's website and the Steam page. As I said, early access at the moment. Everything you see is subject to change, but I think it's got a fair amount of potential, and there's enough in it for you to at least enjoy it by making your own stuff and playing about with it, I think, at this stage anyway. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.